No. So you are able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
No. No. So anyway, so last class, we have almost followed, right? The spectral elements also we have seen. So we have seen in great detail, and of course, it is same as finite element only. Only some advantages, like the mass matrix becomes symmetric, and other advantages are there. So where you have the advantages, okay. So like parallel computing and other things, becomes very easy, okay. So I have sent you this MS thesis, okay. There are no textbooks are there, okay, on the spectral element method. So I've sent you that MSc thesis of that Bernard thing, or even the Eigel's book itself is sufficient, or Tromp download, and you can go through the the methodology and other things also, okay. But the only thing what you have to just remember is so because the spectral element is essentially a higher order the FEM say. So at the nodes it will be fine, okay. So at the nodes it will be perfectly fine, but in between the nodes say find out the solution or something, then the errors will be very high, and because the polynomials are of very high order say, so you will be having very huge you see oscillations will be there. So this is one negative thing with this higher order FEM, okay. And of course here, as already I told you, the node points are already fixed actual, okay. So you can't change the nodal points, because these node points are taken as this GLL points. So then if you are interested in finding the solution, say somewhere in between, like for example, if I have any beam, say, okay. So the dynamic load or whatever, so let us say I have divided this into some elements, okay, some 3 elements or something. So now my nodes are fixed actual, okay. If I go for 4th order polynomial, so my nodes endpoints will be by nodes, and then I have 2 more points. So all these points say, so they are decided from GLL quadrature, okay. And let us say I want to find out solution here. So at this place I want to find out a deflection or bending moment or whatever you would like to find out. So because there is no nodal point here, and since you are using a higher order polynomials, say, so then you will be having the huge oscillations, and then the errors also, you see, will be a little bit tricky apart from the nodal points, okay. So this is the main negative thing with this the higher order, you see, the spectral element method, okay. So I think yesterday we have sent this SCM lab, so there is a MATLAB the codes are there for one dimensions, okay. So for one dimensional, even 2D, then 3D, all the codes are there, but 2D, I think 3D, they are all written in Fortran, okay. Fortran and parallel computing they have used. So so you can download, as far as this course is concerned, so you can run this one dimensional thing, so to get more insight into this spectral element, okay. So what all of you have to do is this one dimensional program, you take it and then you study, like increasing the order of polynomials, say. So by increasing the order of polynomial, what happens to the solution, okay. So now so this you can study the sensitivity, study how the accuracy changes, how things are sensitive. Then another thing is not at the nodal points, like in between the nodes, say how good are these oscillations, okay. So this also you can see how these errors goes up, and then how much oscillatory things you can try. So this you can study. Then you can also study effect of dt and dx, okay. So this is a very important thing, essentially, which is related to the stability, dispersion, and all those things we can study also. By changing dt, what happens, by changing dx, you see what happens. So you can study all these things by using this SEMLab, essentially the one dimensional thing, okay. So you people try. And 2D also, I think MATLAB program, if it is there, so this also you can just try. So you can try a simple axial problem, or this axial problem subjected to dynamic load, say. So it is like you have a bar, so you have there is an impact actual. Okay, so there is an impact to this side, so it has been hit by some kind of a hammer or something, so or what happens. Okay, so how these things how the results are there, and you can try, and you can even compare with ordinary FEM also. Okay, so this anyway all of you would have studied in your finite element course also, so you can try with FEM what happens, with spectrum what happens, so you can explore, and you can get a detailed insight into this method itself. So this much is sufficient, as far as this course is concerned. See, there will be one extra class will be there, maybe next week, Meenakshi and some other students say, okay, so they will demonstrate you these softwares, essentially the spectrum, okay, the complete 3 dimensions, or how they you have to run using our Aqua cluster, how you have to submit the jobs, and then how to change the inputs and other things, they will demonstrate. I will inform you, okay, based on their convenience also. So they will demonstrate you about this spectrum also at a later stage, maybe next week, some special you followed it class, or maybe during the class time itself. Okay, so this much is sufficient as far as this course is concerned. So now we will go to another method which is also widely popular and widely used actually, okay, in practice. That is this finite volume method. Okay, so this is also very, very important thing, and the finite volume generally everybody uses for fluid dynamics. Okay, so generally fluid problems, computational fluid dynamics, so there's this method is widely used, this finite volume method itself. Now this finite volume method, say, although it is used in for fluids, but it can also be extended to solid mechanics also. Okay, so you can use this method in even for solids itself. Okay, like our wave propagation, so all these things also you can try. So this wave propagation, say, okay, so nobody has used it till now in in the finite volume method. Nobody has succeeded, okay, in doing this 3-dimensional the wave propagation problem. So but recently people have started using this for solid mechanics also. So in 2007 there were papers actual. Okay, so there are papers have been published in simulating this ground motions, the waves, the displacement time histories, for earthquakes, for impact, the shock problems. You see, people have started using this method also. Okay, so even for shock problems essentially, so when it is subjected to shock, okay, so now how waves will propagate, say, so this fluid this finite volume method comes into picture itself. So this is one of the you can say thing widely used here also, and there are several codes are available online. One is a Clopak. Okay, so this is a very famous code. Okay, Clopak developed by, I think, some French group. Okay, so they have developed this thing. You can Google it. Okay, so you will get this the Clopak software also, and even for tsunami simulations, say. Okay, so for tsunami simulations also people use this finite volume method. So this is widely established, this finite volume in fluid mechanics problems. But in solid mechanics, not many papers are there. But now people have started using this method itself. So now in this finite volume method, say, the philosophy is very, very simple, same as the finite element only. Okay, same as FEM, and then the spectrum, whatever we discussed previously. Okay, so but here the concept is slightly different. Even the equations also, the what equation you have to solve, say, so that also you have to be very that is where this finite volume FEM and other things they differ each other. Now in finite volume method, this method, say, so this method is basically built on this advection equation, they say. Okay, so in mathematical terminology, advection, the equation. But in engineering terminology, say, we also call this advection equation as conservative loss. Okay, so right, in mechanics, we have several laws are there. One is the conservation of mass, you followed. So conservation of mass is there. Then we have the volume or whatever. Then we have conservation of momentum, linear momentum, then angular momentum, conservation of energy, So all kinds of conservative laws are there. So in the finite volume method, the most important thing is this conservative laws. So mathematical word is advection, they say, but advection is anyway nothing but a conservative law. So this is a more engineering work. So in finite volume method, it is completely based on this conservative laws. Okay. Or you can also say you would have studied in your solid mechanics course also this Gauss divergence theorem. So any of you remember what this Gauss divergence theorem does? So you would have studied in solid mechanics. Okay. So what is the speciality of this theorem? Now, what does this theorem does? A speciality of this theorem where you have used in solid mechanics.
Evaluating integrals.
Where?
Integrals, evaluating integrals.
No, evaluating integrals only, but what is the speciality of this Gauss divergence? See, in solid mechanics, where have you used this Gauss divergence theorem? You remember? So when you derived your stress equations of equilibrium, say, okay?
It relates with the volume.
Where?
It relates to the volume, sir.
No, volume is fine. Where have you used this, volume? Not, it is not volume. It relates to two quantities. What are those two integrals? One is volume, what is the other one? See, what is the speciality of Gauss divergence? See, one integral is volume, other integral is what?
Surface integral.
Surface integral only. Okay, so now where you have used this Gauss divergence theorem, if you remember in solid mechanics to derive this principle of angular linear momentum, say, right? You would have done already the structural mechanics course or solid mechanics. We have two types of forces. One is body force, then another one is surface traction, kind of a thing. So you have body forces are volume integrals, okay, whereas surface tractions are the surface integral. So now to convert a volume integral or a surface integral, say, into this one, we use this Gauss divergence theorem. So using Gauss divergence theorem, you remember, so this this T, wherever this area you followed, right, dv or something, you see, you write like this. So this is converted into a the complete volume integral, and finally you get, you remember, sigma ij comma j plus bi is equal to 0. Okay, so this is how you use our Gauss divergence theorem. Okay, so this Gauss divergence theorem essentially what it relates a volume integral to a surface integral. So if you have any quantity, say, okay, vector, or it may be any a quantity. No. So any quantities, it may be a vector or it may be a tensor. See, like for example, if I have displacements, okay. So now I will find out, you see, the divergence. Okay. So what is the divergence of a vector? So dou u by dou x, it is a scalar quantity. Okay. So dou v by, you see, dou y plus dou w by dou z. Okay. So now this is the divergence of this one. So if I have any region, say, okay, so the surface is dv and its volume is v inside, and this is a surface normal. Okay, so this is a normal to the surface. So this is my surface or the boundary. Okay, and this is my volume which is inside the quantity. So what the Gauss divergence theorem says is so if I compute this integral, say, that is a divergence of this function. Okay, so divergence of any vector, say, that is a q dot or whatever, it says that it is related, instead of doing the volume integral, so it is related to this integral also. So q dot n, okay, ds. So this is how the integral goes away. So this is my volume integral, and this is my surface integral actually. Okay, so this is our Gauss divergence theorem comes into picture. Okay, so this Gauss divergence theorem is very, very close to all our conservation laws. Okay, So based on this only we get conservation of, whenever you are talking anything like, you know, conservative loss, say, okay, there may be a conservative conservation of mass, or conservation of energy, or conservation of angular momentum, conservation of linear momentum. Automatically Gauss divergence theorem has to come into picture itself. So the reason is like this. Okay, so suppose if the things are, so we are having a fluid or whatever, say, okay, so something is flowing, okay, so in this direction. Now suppose if I take any volume, say, okay, so this region I take, okay, so this is my control, the volume. Okay, so control volume if I take, so now generally, so if I try to find out in that volume, say, so the rate of change, okay, so the rate of change of some function, okay, so if this is a phi, okay, which is a flow here, so in that volume, okay, so this small region we are taking here in this volume, say, okay, so phi is going flowing like this actually, okay, so I have my phi. So if I try to find out this phi, okay, so rate of change of phi, so that is dou by dou t, okay, integral so phi over this volume, okay, so dv. So this we can write this as the net flux actual, okay, so this generally, you see, so this this depends on, you see, the net flux, okay, across the boundaries. Okay, so this is how it says. So we have a boundary which is denoted by dou v. So we have inside v. So how much fluid is flowing, say, in this. So it depends on what is the rate of change of phi. So it depends on the flux change, that how much is coming inside this volume, and then you see how much it is the going out inside this thing itself. So here this is basically the volume integral here. So this is a flux, say, okay, so this comes up near at the boundaries actually, how much is incoming and how much is outgoing actually at this boundaries itself. So this in this net flux is essentially a surface integral. You followed. So these like conservation principles. So surface integral. So this can be represented as so dou v. So we have f dot n, say, ds actual. So this is our the famous, you see, the conservation loss. Okay. So dou by dou t. So we have phi dv. So if I want to find out any quantities, how much it is changing inside a given volume, so it depends on how much is coming inside and how much it is going outside. So that is given by this integral. So this is our surface integral. Okay, and this is our volume integral actually. So the Gauss divergence theorem say, so generally, as already I told you, you have a volume integral and you have a surface integral. So the physical meaning of Gauss divergence theorem is essentially our conservative loss. Okay, so this quantity tells you how Q is changing. Okay, the rate of change of Q in that volume, whereas this depends on, you see, how much is incoming and how much is the outcoming kind of a thing. So Gauss divergence essentially, it is like you followed, right? Your the conservative loss, say, they themselves, you can express in terms of this the Gauss divergence theorem itself. So now here this equations, so generally f is differentiable. Okay, so f is differentiable, say, so you can convert everything into one integral itself. So dou by dou t. So we have phi dv. So this integrals using our Gauss divergence theorem. So this f dot n dot ds. So this you can replace with del dot q itself. Okay, and it is will be a volume integral. So del dot f dv kind of a thing. So both are same volume integrals itself. So we can write everything in one go. So dou phi by dou t, say, plus so del dot the f dot, say, okay. So this entire expression over volume is equal to 0 for every controlled volume. So this is our famous the conservative loss. So if it is in a strong form equation, say, so here also you can do strong form and weak form. Okay, so strong form means So we want this to get satisfied at each and every point inside the medium. So this comes out to be, like this. Okay, so this is my strong form. So if it is in weak form, so like in FEM or SpecFEM, whatever we did, so this is our weak form of the equation for a conservative the coordinate system. So you can write in a differential form, or you can write it in a integral form also. Okay, so two things are there here in our this thing. Or physically speaking also, you can also write this expression as dou by dou t, say, okay, of some conserved quantity. Okay, what is that you are going to conserve? So this divergence, the flux is generally, it is a mathematical term. So there is no definition of flux. Flux just means, so if I have any volume, say, so how much is coming through the this left side boundary, and how much it is going through the right side boundary. Okay, that's what this flux indicates. Okay, how what it may be anything you can define. So now based on this, you can define, you see, mass conservation of mass. You would have studied in your fluid mechanics, and even in solid mechanics also we do this conservative of mass itself. So for conservation of mass, which means the density, that is what is important here. So this becomes so rho times some q dot. So we have so f dot n dot ds, say. Okay, so this indicates amount of mass. Okay, so flowing across ds, that boundary, per unit time, and rho is density. That's why you see that integral over the volume comes. So now using our theorem, so dou by dou t, so v rho times dou v, and we have this dou v rho times q dot some n ds is equal to 0. So finally, say, so you can combine everything in one go. So dou rho by dou t plus delta dot rho dot q. Okay, so q is nothing but, you see, those velocity terms are there. Okay, so dv is equal to 0. So this is our see the conservation of mass. Rho times, you see, q dot is equal to 0. So this is our mass conservation equation. So you can write in integral format, or you can even write it in the this format also. So if a q is velocity, say velocity or whatever the displacements are u, v, w, so you can expand, and then you can write this in a nice the fashion itself. So this way you can derive, you see, conservation of mass, conservation of momentum, conservation of energy, and all those things. Why? So in finite volume method, the most important thing is whatever equation you are going to solve. Okay, in whatever equation, like a wave equation or whatever equation you are going to do, then finite volume method, the most important thing is you should be able to write your equations of motion, say, in conservative form. Okay, so this is a starting step actually. So you cannot write dou square u by dou t square is equal to, you see, previously we have done, right, rho into dou square u by dou t square, that wave equation. So that equation is not the valid here. So that means that equation is not valid, means that equation is perfectly fine. That equation cannot be solved in a finite volume method. So that equation has to be converted into a conservative form of this equation, or this advection equation. So advection, conservation, both of them are same. So you have to represent your equations, say, in this format. Then only you can solve by this the finite volume method itself. Okay, so this is a very important thing between compared to FEM. Then the other you see the methods itself. So this you have to keep it in mind itself. So for finite elements, it was very easy. Okay, it was all straightforward. We have already we know the equation of that motion. Then we solved in a weak form, and then we did. But here you can't do that. So you have to write the equations in a conservative format. So these are first the important steps. So now here the method is very simple. So the method, so if you can write your equation, say by doing some algebra, okay, so here and there something you know do this one, like in finite difference, you remember what were how many equations we derived? Any remember what are the different formulations in finite difference? Any of you remember finite difference, what equations we used to solve? So in finite difference, long back we discussed, right? There we discussed several formulations. What are those formulations? Same equation only. You can write in several ways.
The displacement formulation, velocity formulation.
So displacement formulation, velocity stress formulation, then formulation, variety formulations are there in finite difference. And of course, when it came to FEM spectrum, you had only one form and simply the weak integral form we used. Okay, but in finite volume method, what form finite volume method wants? So you have to write your equation, the formulation in a conservative form. This is the starting crucial point. So whatever wave equation say, you have to write in this format. So like dou rho by dou t plus a del dot rho q. So this type of power, if you are able to write your equations of motion, then the problem is the solved actual. So that is the most important thing in this finite volume method. Now if you see this equation, so what is the order of this equation? Now what is the order of this equation? Now any equation, this we have written as a conservation of mass. So this equation, so what is the order of this ODE? Now, so what is the order of this ODE in time? No, it is a first order. In space, see what is the divergence of f, say? So divergence of f is nothing but dou fx by dou x plus dou fy by dou y plus dou fz by dou z. So this is my equation actually. You remember? So what type of equation is this? In time it is a first order. In space, see in space also what is the order? First order only. So you have to write. No, tell me what is it? No, somebody told, right? What is it now? See what is the order of these equations? Okay. First order in time, first order in space also. So now our wave equation say that also has to be written in this type of format. Then only you can solve by finite volume method itself. So we can write in this type of form. But here, can you write wave equation as a first order? Whether it is a possible? No. So you take the clue from finite difference method. So in finite difference method, where did you have this first order? See displacement formulation, if you see in finite difference, so what is the order of the equations in finite difference? Yeah. So in finite difference method, when you wrote in displacement formulation, say, okay, so what was order of that equation? Now what was order of that equation in displacement formulation? See what you remember wave equations. What was order of the equations, in displacement formula? What is the equation we solved in FD displacement formulation? You remember dou square u by dou t square. You followed, right? M into dou square u by dou x square. Like this was a displacement formulation. Now what is the order of this equation?
Second order in time.
Second order in time, second order in space. So now can you solve this equation by finite volume? See, but finite volume, what should be your order of your equations? You have to write everything in
First order.
First order. So now how do you write this equation first order? What formulation will give you first order in time, first order in space? You have to remember finite difference. We said, right, displacement stress, velocity stress, displacement velocity stress, Like that we wrote. Which formulation gave you all first order, first order, first order, first order in time, first order in space also? Come on, which formulation will give you first in time? In finite difference also, which one we used? Which formulation we used? This or this or this? No, which one? I am unable to hear. Which formulation we used? No. So which formula we used? Velocity stress, actually. Remember, why did we wrote velocity stress formulation? Because if you write in terms of velocities, say, okay, so this equation becomes only dou v by dou t. You followed, right? So if you bring stress also into this one, so you can write everything in first order actual. So this gives you a clue that yes, okay, you can use a finite volume method for wave equation also. You can write things in first order, and you can write it in a conservative framework, and still we can solve our the equations itself. So this gives you a hint that you see the finite volume method can also be used in terms of this one. See, like if you see this velocity stress formulation, say, okay, so I will write only for one dimensional problem. So if it is a just simply one dimension, say, okay, so we write, you remember, no, dou sigma by dou t already we have written previously. So mu dou v by, you see, dou x, so this is equal to 0, and other equation was dou v by dou t, okay, minus 1 by rho dou sigma by, you see, dou x is equal to 0. So this is our velocity stress formulation, and both of them are in terms of time. So now this you can write nicely in terms of a matrix format. So dou q by dou t, okay, plus a into some dou q by dou x is equal to 0 kind of a thing we can write, where matrix A, say, is 0 minus mu, and then minus 1 by rho, and then 0, and our q, say, is these are the variables sigma v transpose actual. Okay, so you can see, so the velocity stress formulations which we have done in this one, so I can these are all first order, I can combine this in a matrix format, so I can write my wave equation also in terms of like this itself. So now if you see this format, say, so then this equation is same as our conservative equation itself. You followed? So it is same as some conservative law itself. You followed, and you can write this is nothing but your advection equation only. So if it is a mass, means q becomes rho. If it is this one, so you can write in this format itself. So this gives you hope that so still we can use a finite volume method to solve our wave equation, because we can write our wave equation in the conservative format itself. So in finite difference also we use this velocity stress formulations, because there also we told, right? So second derivatives means the errors will be more. First derivative will be, you followed it, easy to solve. So all those equations also we wrote, this was a preferred formulation in finite difference. Now the same formulation, so you can combine, and then you can use it in the finite volume method also. So this problem is also sorted out actual. Okay, so it means that your wave equation or your continuum mechanics, say, whatever beam, column, or whatever you do, because these equations are same, okay, for any continuum mechanics, you can solve by, you see, the finite the volume method. So this gives you hope that finite volume method can be used to solve our wave equation itself. Okay, so now let us see the finite volume method. Okay, what it does, this FWM. So this is based on the conservative law only. Okay, so only advantage in finite volume method is no derivatives. Okay, so the derivatives are replaced with the integrals kind of a thing. So we do it in an integral format. So if we q of x is a solution field, okay, so let us say is a solution a field or displacement field or whatever, stress field, or it may be anything here. Okay, so this so solution field, let us say it is varying with respect to x. Okay, So now in finite volume, what we do is, so this is my original, the solution field here. So if I zoom up, say, what we try to do is, this small portion, this is my solution field. Say we divide this into, like elements kind of a thing, but here it will be like, the volumes here. Okay, so we do, like this, and then, we replace this elements with, its averages. Okay, so this is the concept here. So this is our qi, and this is my, you see, qi plus 1, and this is, so qi minus 1. So these are my cells. Okay, so this is my q of x. So we divide like this, and so our definition is, so qi of n, say, so we are representing 1 by dx. So this is my solution field. So qx comma t dx. Okay, so over a cell. So this is your volume of the cell. Okay, so we divide our entire medium, say, whatever you are doing, you see, displacement field or whatever the solutions or whatever, into, several cells of some volumes. Okay, some v is a volume. So now in each cell, say, okay, so we represent, a constant, you see, like this. The function may be varying, okay, but we replace them with some kind of, averages. So this is a fundamental concept in, the finite volume method. So these type of spatial averages, say, okay. So we use these averages to represent, these fields itself. So now here, so now here the notation is, so the upper index, say, we have two index, it is notated. So the upper index is time. Okay, so Tn is equal to n times dt. This lower index, say, this is related to space for a one-dimensional, the problem itself. Okay, so this indicates, you see, the cell. Okay, so which is cell, I minus 1 or before cell or something like that. So now here, so we have a cell centered at x is equal to xi. Okay, so the same thing, whatever we have drawn previously. So let us take some 3 cells. So this is one cell, this is one cell, and this is my value. Okay, so this is my, qi minus, so qi is here, this is qi minus 1, then qi plus 1. Okay, so now you followed, right? So now if I take myself, so this is my, the field actual. Okay, the solution. So we have replaced with some averages. So now what it does is, the change of values here. So the change actually, this qi, okay, in a cell. So inside the cell, so it depends on, how much is coming inside through the, this cell, that is through this boundary. So that is fi minus half. Okay, this is what we are calling. And now here this is, so f is I plus 1 by 2. Okay, so these are our boundaries actual. So I minus half and I plus half, they indicate, you see, the flux. So these are the flux means, as already I told you, there is no definition of flux. Flux means, you followed, right? It is something like material coming from this side and then, from the boundaries. That is a mathematical, definition for this flux itself. So now we are having, you see, the right boundary and then the left boundary we have. So the right boundary, you see, is denoted by, xi plus half dx, and my left boundary, say, okay, so it is xi minus, some half times dx. So these are the boundaries. So now if I want to find out, you see, the change of values, so change of q with the time. Okay, of this qy, so with the time. So you have to imagine, like, it is like a conservation of mass, or it is like a fluid flow. So now, we want to find out how much things are changing in this cell, say, qy, okay, in time. So it depends on how much is the inflow and how much is the outflow. Okay, how much is coming inside and how much it is going, outside itself. So this I can write as qi, okay, at cell I at n plus 1 time minus qi, okay, at nth time. So with respect to dt, you followed, right? So this is my derivative, how q is changing in a given cell I with time itself. So this can be denoted, this can be, you can find out, this can be estimated by, how much is coming inside the cell during this much time and how much is, going away. Okay, so this indicates is f of n. So I minus half minus how much is inflow and how much is the outflow, okay, by dx. So this depends on our derivatives, okay. So this fi minus 2 say, okay, so this depends on the flux actual, how much it is coming inside, so that depends on the previous cell also. So this is essentially depends on q n I minus 1th cell and then q n ith cell. It is a function of, you see, these two quantities itself. So now finally, if you see this expression say, okay, so now what is this expression tells you, what are these derivatives if the dx and dt are becoming a very small say. So what is this derivative? What this entire thing goes to which equation? So when dt dx collapses actual, okay. So this becomes a derivative dou q by dou t. Right hand side you will be having dou f by dou x actual, okay. So this collapses to which equation? Now see, this collapses to which equation? This one. So here a time derivative, here this is a spatial derivative. You followed, right? So what happens? Everything collapses to what is this equation? You can see here. Finally, what happens? Everything collapses to or this equation also. You followed, right? This equation. What does this equation tells you? So we already wrote, right? Dou rho by where is it? You can see right here. So what time derivative we have a spatial derivative actual. So now if this is a volume, say if it is in 3 dimensions, say, so then you have boundaries in x direction, boundary in y direction, then boundary in the z direction. How much is coming through the x boundary, how much is coming from y, and how much is coming from the z boundary itself. So finally as a dt and dx comes down, say, okay, so automatically it goes towards, say, this fundamental is the this conservation equation itself. So one can so dou q of x comma t, say, by dou t. So you can prove yourself plus a times, so some dou x, so dou q x comma t, okay, by dou x is equal to 0. Same equation you will get. That is nothing but, you see, conservation equation. And you will have a coefficient. So this indicates, you see, the velocity generally, okay, the speed, how much speed is the fluid is coming inside. So sometimes it is also known as the transport velocity also. So this is a technical the word which we in mathematics is they use. So now if the velocity is a constant, okay, so if a is a constant and if things are not changing, this one, so this fn, okay, so I minus half. So this indicates a times q1 I minus 1, okay, and fn, say, I plus 2. This is outflow, that is inflow, and this is outflow. So this also qi n. So this depends on this itself. So now you substitute, say, fn I minus 2 fi plus 2 in this the expression. So finally you can write this as so q I n plus 1. So this becomes so q I of n plus a dt by dx, okay, q I minus 1 n minus q I en actual. So this is our nicely you followed, right? So you get a nice expression for q itself. So now here you can see, so this thing is same as it looks familiar, right? What is the expression? What is this? What it means to you? What is this term? So this is same as what type it is? It looks similar, right? It looks similar to what? What does it looks to you? It is similar to what? So this we have derived from the finite volume for Q, okay. But finally, when you look at this function, say, what does it tells you? It is some already we have seen, right, this type of equation. So it is close to which one?
Difference equation.
It is essentially finite difference equation only. But what type of finite difference it is in time? Forward difference, central difference, or backward difference? See the times here. No, central. Be careful. See what are here in time, not in space. Okay. Now what type of scheme this is? Forward or back?
Forward in time.
If it is a backward means n minus 1 will be there. But now here you are having terms n plus 1 and n. Okay, so this is essentially a forward difference scheme. It is not even a central difference scheme. Central difference means you should have n minus 1 also. You follow. So you can see, all of them, as already I told you, all of them are same only because this finite volume also, you remember, right? It's same as this one only, but finally you followed, right? You can get similar form also. So now you can also, we will see after some point of a time. So you can go for higher order terms also by Taylor series and others. So in finite volume, they call this as Lax-Wendroff scheme. Okay, so this is some technical followed, right? Schemes are there. The second order scheme in the finite volume. So the same equation, say n plus 1. So you can see qi of n minus a dt by 2 times dx, say. So you involve more number of the terms. So q I plus 1 n minus q I minus 1 n. So this is our the first order the terms itself. We can have higher order also, half a dt by dx, say whole square. Okay, qi n, and then the higher order also. Okay, these are higher order schemes also, one can derive. Of course, we will derive also after some time using some, this Taylor series and other kind of a thing. So this is a basic philosophy in our, the finite volume. So finite volume, what are you doing? So the same region you divide it into number of elements. Of course, here we don't call as the elements, we call them as volumes. Okay, but our equation of equilibrium, our equation of motion is written in a conservative form. So conservative means already right? Conservation means, so if you take any volumes and if you want to find out rate of change of fluid in that volume, say it depends on how much fluid is entering through your left side boundary or right side boundary, or maybe top or bottom, because it is in 3D, say you can have all the the sides, you can have a boundaries here. So in which direction fluid is coming, how much fluid is going outside. So based on that one, you can find out anyway, it collapses to our conservative equation, and finally, you replace them with respect to this, this time, the averages. Automatically you get once again, this type of a set of equations, which you can use it and solve this itself. So now the same things you can also derive from the conservative, the laws also. So that also you follow, right? You can scheme. Okay, so there are several, the schemes are available. Okay, like for example, if you see from the conservative laws, it's just alternative way. You will get anyway same thing only. From the conservation law also we can derive the same thing. So like for example, we have a thing like this, a volume. Okay, so this is my left side and this is my right side of the boundary, and I have, this is my qx comma t, and let us say fluid or whatever it is flowing from with a velocity a. Okay, so the total mass of the quantity is a. Okay, so the total mass of the quantity is so we are doing in a different format, xl and xr. Okay, so this is a q x comma t dx. It's a one-dimensional problem. So this is the total mass of the quantity, and if I want to find out change, say in its mass. Okay, so with respect to time, so then I have to differentiate this dou by dou t. Okay, xl, then xr q x comma t dx actual. So this is my integral. So now this, how do I find out? So this depends on the fluxes actual. Okay, so how much is coming through this boundary, left boundary, and how much is going from the right boundary, because it is a fluid kind of, it is like conservation of mass. So this depends on the flux inside at the left boundary minus the right boundary actually. Okay, so this is how it comes, and as already we discussed, right? So there is a flux, say it depends anyway a function of qx comma t only, which is on the this side of the cell. Okay, so you can write this as a times qx comma t itself. So you can substitute here and you can write this expression as, you know, so dou by dou t xl then xr, so qx comma t dx. So this becomes f of, you know, so q of xl comma t, that is on the left side of the boundary, and it is a function of, say, q right side, how much inflow outflow kind of a thing. So finally you followed, right? You can write this expression after doing some mathematics here and there. So this expression, so you can write this as, you can convert into, you know, this type of integral. So dou f, okay, qx comma t by using dou x. So this you can write this expression and finally say, so you can write this entire quantity, okay, like this. So integral xl xr, okay, so dou q x comma t by dou t plus dou, of course you have a function x comma t with respect to x, okay, so the entire thing with respect to dx is equal to 0, and finally, you know, if you want a strong form, so you will get once again the same you know, the conservative law, okay, by dou x is equal to 0. Same thing only you are right, okay. So this is how you followed, right? So the finite volume, you know, everything revolves around this, you know, the law itself, okay. So now here there are several schemes are there. So how do we calculate this, you know, the equations? So like we just wrote, you know, this type of equation here. So how to do this type of equation? So there are several schemes are there. So this is what one scheme. Then Lax-Ventropf scheme is there. So that whatever scheme we derived, so that is also known as an upwind scheme also. Upwind, you know, a scheme. So this is a special I followed it. Several schemes are there. See, sometimes what happens, you know, so when you are having a cells, say, now what happens, you know, your waves actual, okay, so you have to assume here, so always waves are coming from the left side and going through the right side. Sometimes what happens, you know, you can have a waves which may come from right also and may leave from left also, or top bottom if it is in 3D, say. So you can have, you know, variety cases may happen depending on the heterogeneous medium. So many things are there, okay. So your qy, so because the fluid is going away from right side and entering from left side, or it may happen even right side and left side, or top and bottom. So many combinations will come into picture itself. So this one scheme, upwind scheme, which is widely used. So qy of n, say. So as already I told you, so we represent the solution by this in each cell by this q x comma, you know, tn dx, okay. So this is my qn here. So the average value of the cell, say. So now to do this one, as already, you know, previously we have written, so this is my volume now. So q x comma tn plus 1 dx minus you know, so q x comma tn dx. So this is a change of the volume, okay. Of course it is equal to your flux. So you can also write this as x L comma t dt minus actual, okay. So tn plus 1. So we have a function of q xr comma t dt, okay. So these are my functions here. So if I denote you know, by this f you know, this in different notations, so we use this f L comma r, left or right, this notation. So 1 by dt, so tn to tn plus 1, okay. So function of, you know, q L or r, okay, comma t dt, okay. So my q of n minus 1, n plus 1, okay. So this turns out to be qi n minus dt by dx fr, okay, n minus so fl n itself. So which is same, you remember. So previously also we have derived here, okay. Of course the notations were slightly you followed, right? qi. So you can see this is nothing but same as you followed, right? This f function itself. So this is one you know, the scheme automatically, you know, it comes here. So now if it is an upwind scheme or something, you see, so we do some if it is having a constant velocity, say, okay. So if a is a transport velocity, oh sorry, So like for example, if you are solving a p wave equation, say, so my transport velocity will be same as the p wave velocity. If I'm solving shear waves, say, then a will be same as the shear wave velocity. So if it is having some kind of a transport velocity, so we can write like this. So qi n plus 1. Previously we have written already qn I minus 1 plus so, and of course if it is this type of a scheme, say, that is the upwind scheme or something where things are only going from left side to the right side. So we have we can also write this as a dt by dx. So we have qi n minus so q I minus 1 n. So this is the upwind scheme we say. So which is the meaning is like this. So qi at n plus 1, say, okay, is same as qx I tn plus 1. So this is same as so q xi minus a d times dt t to the power of n actual. Okay, so this is the upwind scheme. Okay, so this is how the phase change or whatever you see we try to use here. So using this expression, say, so now you substitute here, so you get these expressions, and finally you rearrange all the terms nicely. So this turns out to be qi of n minus a dt by dx. So qi n minus q I minus 1 n, which is same what we derived previously. Okay, so you can derive from so this scheme, say, is known as, so this equation is same as you can see here. Where is that we have derived? Yes, no, so this equation you can see here, right? So this equation you see we derive. So this scheme is generally known as the upwind scheme actual. So what is the meaning of that upwind? Although it is same as your final difference itself, upwind scheme, what does it tells you? If you have to interpret in terms of there's a conservative principles. So what does it tells you? So upwind scheme physical, what does it means? So if you see the the subscripts, so you have I and then I minus 1 only. So what is the meaning of this? What it tells you? Upwind scheme means what is the flow, how the flow is going. Physical interpretation, what is the meaning of this one? I minus 1. So what does it mean? What it is trying to tell us? What is happening? Flow is going from where to where?
Flow is going from left to right.
Left to right actual. Okay, so there is no qi plus 1, or we are not assuming like this. Okay, but anyway, this is a finite difference scheme, it comes, but the physical meaning, okay, if you want to interpret in terms of finite volume method, say, so the interpretation is flow is coming from this side and it is going from other side like that. So this is how the interpretation has to be made here. Okay, now here another most important thing is the stability of the schemes. And now how do you check whether the scheme is stable or not? You look at this equation and tell me whether it is a stable. What stability depends on what? Now here, which is the one which controls? Which one controls stability here? So if you want to be stable algorithm, say, which is the one which controls? So this is a future value. So future is a function of the present value. Then the difference you followed, right, between the two cells. Okay. So now anyway, this we cannot handle. So what is the most important thing which governs stability? You followed. So a dt by dx. Now tell me what happens. What is the stability criteria here? So this a dt by dx, it should be what? So a anyway is a velocity, okay, which is a positive quantity. Dt is also positive. Dx also time step and spatial steps. All of them are positive. So what is that you have to ensure such that your solutions will be stable? Now, what should happen? Now, what should happen? This a dt by dx, it should be less than what? This should be always, if it is greater than 1, what happens? Suppose if it is greater than 1, what happens? So if it is greater than 1 means you followed, right, 1.2 or 1.5. If it is, what happens? So this, what happens to the solution? Automatically
So it will be unstable.
it will be unstable, or it will be, diverging kind of a thing. It happens. So now, so the condition for stability is, so a dt by dx say, okay. So this should be followed. So less than or equal to 1, same as that current stability, whatever, previously we have seen, okay. So this comes up, like this. Now this is what they call as, upwind scheme. So upwind scheme is anyway in finite volume they call as upwind scheme, but it is same as our finite difference scheme, that is essentially, the forward finite difference. So the names are slightly different. Okay, we call as upwind scheme in the finite volume method. Okay, so this is the most thing. And then now you can go for higher order terms also. That is, as already told, Lax, Ventroff, the schemes are there. Okay, so here, you express in terms of Taylor series, you say. So this Q function you express in terms of Taylor series. So you can write as a Qx comma Tn, okay, f of x plus h, and then you see dt, dt, then multiplied by, see, dou q x comma Tn by, you see, dou x plus half dt square. Oh, sorry, this is dou t. I'm very sorry. Now half dt square, then dou q x comma Tn, okay, dou t square, okay. So like that is our Taylor series, okay. So now already you know the transport equation. So now this second derivative, so dou square q by, you see, dou t square, you can write this expression as minus a dou square q by, you see, dou x dou t. So this you can get from the transport equation, okay. That is our advection transport equations. So you can replace, okay, all these terms in terms of the spatial derivatives itself. And similarly, say dou square q by, so this you can write dou x dou t also you can modify, and finally you can write this a square into dou square q by dou x square also. So use these derivatives, say. So you can write q x comma, sorry, so q x Tn minus plus 1, okay. So the derivatives we are replacing the time derivatives with the space derivatives, minus dt. So a dou q x comma Tn by dou x, okay. So we have replaced now the time derivative with space derivative. So half, dt square. So now that space time derivatives, so we replace with space derivatives. Okay, so we do like this, and then you do the central difference scheme, say, for this space derivatives. Okay, so if you use a central difference scheme here, so finally you followed it for the space derivatives. So we will get our the Lax Ventroff scheme or something. So qi n plus 1. So qi n minus a dt by 2 times dx. Okay, so q n I plus 1 minus q n I minus 1 plus so half a dt by dx whole square. So using central difference formula, say, for this thing we get q n I plus 1 minus 2 times q n I plus q n I minus 1 actual, okay, central difference in space. So this is what we call as, you followed, right, the Lax Ventroff scheme. So you expand in terms of Taylor series and then replace the time derivatives with the space derivatives. So you get this higher order, the schemes itself. So this way, in finite volume methods, say, so you can derive, you see, several, the interesting schemes itself. Okay. So you can try and then you can derive, you followed it, many, interesting cases itself. So if you see this Eigel's book, so he has given some examples also. Okay. So if you see that one-dimensional problem he has given, so you can, try to write a small MATLAB code, based on these things, and you can plot all those figures like figure 8.1. You followed, right? So this you can do. And here in finite volumes, some advantages are there. Absorbing boundary conditions, all those things are very, very easy to solve actually. So absorbing boundary condition, how you will incorporate? See, like for example, if I have all these volumes, say, okay, and now this is my nx, you followed, right? M minus 1, so up to 1. Now here, if it is absorbing boundary conditions, so what you will do? See, like in a PML layer, say, what we do is we add one more volume. So this is nx minus 1. So here we add one more volume, which is a fictitious kind of a thing, nx. Now suppose if it is absorbing boundary conditions, so what should be the boundary condition here? No, absorbing. What should be the boundary condition? Absorbing means what should happen? Now, previously we discussed it. Absorbing means what happens? It is essentially infinite medium you are representing in a finite medium kind of a format. Now, what does it tells?
So there shouldn't be any reflection of wave.
No reflection. So now in finite volume, say, what is happening? So this cell, if I take, so you are having something inflow and then some outflow. So now if it is absorbing, say, so now in nx, so next cell, whatever is there, same as nx minus 1 itself. So if you write this one, say, so whatever is the value in nx minus 1, same thing. If it is in nx minus 1 also, so which means you follow it, it is a absorbing boundary conditions. So in finite volume, it is very, very easy to write absorbing boundary conditions. But FVM, a finite difference, it is very, very difficult because you have to use primary, what a perfectly matched layer, all those quantities will be there. So that advantages you have in this, the finite volume method. Okay, so we'll stop here. So we'll continue in our next class also. So you can open the Tigel's book, and he has given a code also, small Python code, that figure, I think you see figure 8.9, 8.10. Okay, so you can try, you followed, right? So you can try to code that one, and then you can just try this itself. Okay. So fine. So I will close here.